Stadium. I'm Bob Laurie with Bob Kaczynski, and we're ready to bring you history in the making, because for the first time, Niagara Catholic plays Niagara Falls High School in football. And Bob, this could be one heck of an event.
It certainly could, Bob, if my sports wrap-up show this week was any
indication.
Prelude, yeah. Right? Rich Condino squaring off against not only Joe Rizzo, who we had on our program this week, but also Roger Haley, who grew up with Rich and his brother Jim Condino. So it's neighborhood fellas going against each other. Niagara Catholic, Rich Condino can throw the kitchen sink at you. You never really know what he'll do. So I think it should be an interesting ball game on what may be slick conditions with the rains coming down.
Yeah, you get a good shot of the rain on your screen right now. And Bob, we should mention that the first half of tonight's game is sponsored by the council candidate Frank Soda, pointing to the way to new leadership. Frank Soda is our sponsor for the first half of tonight's action. And we are going to be looking in momentarily at what could be an outstanding high school football game. And I hope that the weather is not a factor. Roger Smith, number 8, who had an outstanding game against Niagara Wheatfield, probably his finest game as a high school football player, will kick off as Niagara Catholic has won the toss and will receive. And just a week ago, quarterback Tavano ran back a kickoff 80 yards, and he is deep, number 19 for Niagara Catholic. Right now, our national anthem. And to make this game even more unusual, Bob, the fact of the matter is that this is a Niagara Catholic home game, and therefore Niagara Falls' rooting section is on the other side of the field.
Yeah, it's an unusual place for them to be at. I talked to a few of the fans before the game. They weren't too thrilled about going across there in the rain. But it is a Niagara Catholic home game, and their homecoming fans are in our stands. We're ready for the kickoff.
All right, Roger Smith, number 8, will kick off. And as I mentioned, Jimmy Tavano is deep. He's the lone man back there, and of course Smith kicks the ball into the end zone. That'll be a touchback. They'll come out to the 20-yard line, and over the last 2 weeks, Bob, Roger Smith hasn't done too many things wrong.
Roger Smith has been Mr. Everything, especially last week. As the paper said, it was a dream homecoming game for the senior, and it'll be tough for him to top that performance. You notice when that ball hit the grass on that last kickoff how quickly it was. Oh, we got a quick count here.
Without a huddle, Robert, that's what they're starting. Coach Condino using all kind of trickery to start the game. He runs Fagan, number 34, and they did catch Niagara Falls a little bit unaware, because they did pick up a good 7 yards on that opening play.
Again, no huddle.
They've done this in their history, and I'm sure Niagara Falls must be expecting things like this. There's Fagan again, and he stopped short of the 30-yard line, and therefore short of a first down, as Niagara Falls, Billy Chamberlain and John Castellani, number 26 and number 16, came over very quickly to close on that play. Now, Niagara Catholic will take their first huddle, and we can catch your breath.
Yeah, it's third and less than a yard. Fagan, the ball carrier, he's impressive for only a sophomore. Rich Condino told me this is his first year of football, organized football, so he's somebody to look at in the future. Let's see what they do if they go to the big man again on third down.
And he's a transfer from Niagara Falls High School. So on third down, they throw, and it's batted down. The pass was batted down. It was really the receiver had no chance to catch that football, because Joe Gallo, who caught a touchdown pass last week, saw a Niagara Falls defender right there, and I was surprised he didn't try to make an interception on that.
Yeah, that was Castellani, number 26, and he just tried to bat the ball down, but he looked like one of the New England defenders against the Bills Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have caught that ball and given the Falls a great field position, but now it's 4th and short, and looks like Niagara Catholic is going to be forced to punt.
New England looked like they felt sorry for Ferragamo early in that game. They dropped about 7. Now, it is 4th down, and Tavano is in punt formation. Now, you notice Niagara Falls, you don't really see it on your screen, but Chamberlain has not dropped back. They try to run it, Bob.
And it looks like from here they've got the first down.
Well, Niagara Falls is saying no. Niagara Catholic is saying yes. Let's see what the referees say.
Well, if they mark the ball over the line where he landed with the ball, of course, they may mark it where his knee hit. Looks like they gave him the first down. Bob.
Yep, Mark Capanola, the short man, carried the ball. They really didn't fool Niagara Falls because Niagara Falls didn't send anyone back. They ran the short man. Man, that is a heck of a gamble in the first 2 minutes of play at your own 29-yard line.
Well, Rich feels that they're big underdogs in this game, Bob, and he's going to have to do something early to keep the Falls off balance.
It looks like a pass coming up here with Capanola throwing, and it's good. On the run to Fagan, and Fagan's got pretty good yardage. And another first down. That ball was well thrown by Capanola, and that's Mark Capanola, number 10. He hit Fagan right in stride.
Capanola showed a lot of poise there. We'll see this again. He's under a little pressure here from the outside. He throws it. Fagan makes the catch and just runs to the outside. He picks up the first down before he's finally dragged down. And now Niagara Catholic very quickly is up near midfield.
That time Fagan beat John Bennett, the linebacker, number 44, who was chasing him on the play. And we have 2 consecutive first downs for the Big Red. And once again, Capanola throws, and this one is no good. As you can see, the pass was short, intended for Campbell, number 47. Castellani was there, number 26.
Bob, it looks like Niagara Catholic is trying to go with some of the quick stuff to avoid that pass rush being put on by Niagara Falls. Joe Rizzo, the defensive coordinator, likes to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And, of course, in this situation with the rain coming down, you don't want to stand back there too long and try to throw the long one because it's tough to hold on to the ball.
Mark Capanola, the quarterback, number 10. Good faking inside, and the running play nets about 4 yards as they went straight ahead to Eddie Scott before he's dragged down. And poor Mark Capanola has really had a tough time. He's been called Chris Capanola, Mark Campanella, Mark Capanola. He's everything but his own name, and he's been living in sort of anonymity for a while, and now he's coming to his own. He had a great game when Niagara Catholic won their only game against Pembroke right here on cable television, and he's led this drive. He's gotten them a first down, and now he's confronted with a 3rd and 6 from his 44, and he calls a timeout.
Well, he saw something there that they weren't prepared for, so Rich Condino will go out and talk to his troops.
Bob, excuse me, you have Niagara Falls ranked number 1 now in that poll that you use.
Sensational 6.
Okay, the sensational 6. So this game is obviously going to have a bearing on it, and this is doubleheader week on cable because tomorrow, if you're watching on Monday, you're wondering what we're talking about, but on Saturday, Niagara Wheatfield will be playing Newport, so we'll be doing 2 games this weekend.
Yeah, the teams in the area this year are really competitive as opposed to, on a scale with each other, and it's tough to pick out one team above the rest. Niagara Falls, a strong performance last week against Niagara Wheatfield. Newport ran into a very tenacious Lockport team. Their defense is tenacious. But, Niagara Catholic is an underdog in this game, and they're ranked number 4 in our poll, but they have played competition unlike the other schools. Everyone, Newport and Niagara Falls, of course, have played Grand Island. They're a buzzsaw, but Niagara Catholic has already played O'Hara and Canisius and some of the Monsignor Martin League schools that are very tough schools, would be probably on a Division I, Division II scale in the Section 6. So they've gone against tough competition. So they shouldn't be what I would consider big underdogs in this game.
No, when you consider that the job that St. Joe's did on Grand Island,
right,
you're making a good point there. There's a screen, and it's picked off. And this could be trouble for Niagara Catholic, as Capanola has to make the tackle, and he does not. He shakes free and goes in for the touchdown.
That was
beautiful play.
Alfonso James on the play, and what an interception and a great run back. He looked like Bruce Smith of the Bills, 78 on that run, Bob, and he ran over somebody at the 10 to make it in the end zone. So we talked about that near interception early.
We're going to see it right now, Bob. Watch Alfonso James, 78. He read that screen beautifully, and now Capanola is the only man to have a shot at him. He gives him a straight arm, drags himself free. He wanted that touchdown. He's got it, and Niagara Falls leads by a score of 6-0. They run a lot of trick plays off their extra point tries. Let's see if they go for 2, even though they're lined up for 1. Rizzo will throw, and it is No good. It's broken up and then intercepted, and it'll be 6-0 Niagara Catholic. And, of course, you do know the story about Alonzo James, Bob. He served as a trainer, a water boy last year, and now has come on to be a very, very good football player for Niagara Falls High School, under the tutelage, incidentally, of Vince Lorendi Jr.
And you could see from the look on Rich Condino's face there, that's not the way he wanted to start out, behind the 8-ball. An interception
they got a penalty
for a
flag, Bob, on the field. I don't know if right on the field now, there's a flag being thrown.
Well, that's Jim Condino
Looks
out
like
on
Jimmy's
the field
out there,
arguing
yeah.
a point.
He's arguing with Don Kakamas. We have no idea what this is about. The two-point conversion, you know, Niagara Falls High School has gone consistently for that two-point conversion, and they have not been as successful as I think they would like to be. I'm sure they would like to be. Jimmy continues to discuss something with Don Kakamas.
You know, you have Don Kakamas, you have Guido Felicetti out there officiating. This is an all Niagara Falls contest here. It'd be tough for these guys to throw a flag on the coaches from either side, the way everybody knows each other out here. It's unusual to see the coach out in the middle of the field arguing a point.
I wish, for our viewers' sake, we could pick up what the point of discussion was, but all we saw was a perfectly timed interception by Alonzo James, who rambled about 41 yards for a touchdown after picking off the pass, and then a two-point conversion that failed, and I don't believe the discussion was about that.
No.
So there must have been something wrong with that, or at least in the minds of the Niagara Catholic coaching staff.
Well, I thought I saw a flag down, but nothing's been marked off on the
yeah, so did I. I thought I
on
saw
the kickoff here.
No, they're going to the 40-yard line.
Unless the flag was down against the Falls, and of course the conversion point was no good, so the penalty was declined.
All right, we had an unsportsmanlike conduct signal being given by Don Kakamas. We're trying to read his lips. That's what we're trying to do.
He called it against.
There's the 15-yard penalty now.
And now
Yeah.
there goes the march off here.
So they'll be kicking from.
Well, either the unsportsmanlike penalty was against one of the Niagara Catholic players, or possibly the bench.
Yeah, they're going to move the ball to the 50-yard line. And really, Roger Smith doesn't need that much help. He got the ball into the end zone from the 40 before.
Would you go for an onside kick in this position, Bob? You've already got the ball up to the 50.
Not really, because of the way my defense had just scored. I really don't think. I think maybe I try to pin them deep and make them make another mistake down there, and that's what they're trying to do. But the ball does go in the end zone. I may have dribbled that kick, Bob, and try to get the ball to maybe the 7 or 8 yard line.
Well,
in answering your question,
the conditions are so slick out there right now. I think this is going to be one of those games where you may see some turnovers. Though the temperatures are quite warm,
Beautiful
it seems
night,
to be about
yeah.
60 degrees out here.
there's one of the Dahl boys who assist Niagara Catholic.
That's Big Joe Dahl, and he'll also sell you some minnows over there on High Park Boulevard. I've been in there a few times.
Heck
Joe
of
Ognebean's buddy.
Heck of a football player. Really an outstanding high school football player. That was a great play by Alonzo James, and what a story Alonzo James is. In our first game, we really detailed for you in a great story about Alonzo James. Paul Fortune, who was our color man that day, told us a very interesting story about how Alonzo had come out and helped the football team as an assistant, really, and done various jobs, and now is playing an integral part as a player. 5-yard gain they're going to credit, although the ball is short of the 25-yard line. Actually, it's more like a 4-yard gain. It'll be second down for Niagara Catholic. They run their players in and out.
Well, that's number 38, who's not on our roster. But
I think 38 is Eddie Scott, Bob. The numbers are difficult to read because they're not in order, and if you look on the other side, I think you'll see
okay,
Scott
I got
down
you.
at the bottom. There's a running play with Croft, number 22, and now we got an official's time. And Croft maybe got the ball, yes he did, just to the Niagara Falls side of the 25-yard line. So it'll be third down and 5 yards to go for a Niagara Catholic first down. The Big Red trails by a score of 6-0 as Mark Capanola had the misfortune of having a screen pass picked off. And when that happens, you really don't have too many people back. He was the only person back. And of course, you saw what happened when James got the football. He got into the end zone. There's a fumble, and I believe Capanola has fallen on it. Niagara Falls is saying they've got it, and they do. That's not James again, is it? Yeah,
Looks like it is,
78.
Bob, 78.
That's Alfonso James. What a dream game he's having.
He's the MVP of the first quarter, I'll tell you that. He's come up with 2 turnovers.
An interception by Alonzo James, and now a recovered fumble by Alonzo James, number 78. He's only a junior.
Well, if you're Niagara Catholic, you've got to come up with a big defensive stand here before this game gets away from you.
This is the first play for scrimmage for Niagara Falls, and it's a pass play. Look at the time, and wide open is Ligamari before he's tackled after good yardage into the Niagara Catholic secondary. Boy, Smith had a lot of time, and Ligamari came from the other side of the field to catch that pass.
Rolled out, he threw for about 8 yards on the play, and Roger Smith torn between being a halfback and a quarterback on this Falls team, and he's probably most dangerous when he runs with the ball, but he can throw on the run.
Niagara Falls in great field position, driving for their second touchdown. They send Tiemann in motion. They run Fair up the middle. There's absolutely no one there as Fair picks up tremendous chunks of yardage, gets the ball inside the 5-yard line. Boy, Bob, they just busted up the middle that time. Beautiful blocking up front, and we mentioned in the last game the offensive line for Niagara Falls High School. Alonzo Williams, number 70, Tony Manna, number 52, Freddie Gabriel, number 50, Dan McKean, number 66, and Dennis Dotz, number 72, did an outstanding job against Niagara Wheatfield, and apparently they're doing the same kind of a thing on the first 2 plays tonight. There's another running play, and look at Fair.
That's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown, and that was easy. I mean, that was easy, as Fair really ran behind some great blocking, got into the end zone, a 2-yard run by Fred Fair, and it's 12-0.
Last week, Niagara Falls looked very impressive against the Wheatfield Falcons, and watch the blocking at the line here. He's met about 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, and when you have that kind of drive from your offensive lineman, it's easy.
Roger Smith, the fake, the pass, and it is broken up. And Rizzo's attempted pass.
Joey, I think, could have waited a few seconds longer on that, and probably the first pass on that extra point. He grabs the ball and throws it to a spot and hopes the defender gets there. But the Falls are in good position. They're up 12 points with 6:27 left in the first quarter. This Niagara Falls team, Bob, seems to convey a lot more confidence at this point in the season than we saw them earlier, even against Trot. They look more decisive. And I think this team is probably, it's a shame that most of these kids are going to graduate at the end of the season.
Well, they've played together for 3 years now, Bob, and they're really starting to gel. It's unfortunate that they lost that game to Lockport because, I really think if they could have beaten Lockport and then they have a big game next week with Newport, they might have been the wild card team, even though Grand Island, really beat them badly. Niagara Falls had a shot. They have an outside shot, but realistically, Lockport would have to lose 3 games. Here is Smith's kickoff. Wow, he is really getting his foot into the football tonight. Niagara Catholic's going to get an opportunity to return this, and they do a pretty good job. Bergani, number 20, gets the ball back upfield. Did a pretty good job getting that ball back as you see Bergani come off the field. And he got the ball out to the 26-yard line where Niagara Catholic will start their offense. 6:21 to play in the first quarter. And the Falls leads by a score of 12-0.
Rich Condino's going to reach into his bag of tricks here pretty soon because they have to get something going. They came up close to the midfield marker on their first possession, but turnovers have cost them.
Here's a pass play that is short.
Just too much pressure on the outside there by Niagara Falls. Number 65 for the Power Cats. Rich Wright came in from the outside and practically sacked Capanola. And Joe's got his defensive ends just crashing on the outside, and Capanola's lucky to get the ball off on that. And that's where you get the ball picked off, as we saw earlier, when you just throw as you're going down.
Yeah, and they had that same kind of problem when they played Nichols. Nichols put a lot of pressure on them in a game we did here on cable television. And you're right, Bob, that's when you do get the interceptions, when you don't really get the protection. You can see the lack of protection there, see the sack. And as Rich Wright celebrates, and so does the rest of the Niagara Falls team, we're going to take a commercial break and come right back.
This is Frank Soda, candidate for City Council. Integrity, commitment, strength of character, and rational problem solving are all qualities we try to instill in our young people. They are the substance of leadership. Whether in the classroom, on the football field, or in the arena of public service, the ability to guide and direct the course of events quickly distinguishes the true leader. As a graduate of Bishop Duffy High School, I would like to congratulate Niagara Catholic on its homecoming and to extend to all our young people the hope of a better tomorrow in Niagara Falls.
Oh, that was a great effort, an individual effort by Capanola. As you saw, he was trapped back there and really worked his way back upfield and was tripped up before he could get some additional yardage. But, Bob, as you pointed out, there is simply no protection for Capanola at all. You're going to see this on a replay, and you can see how Capanola is flushed out of the pocket here and then forced by Alonzo James, incidentally, number 78, comes upfield and then just tripped up.
Chris Stopa just gets his hand out and trips him up.
So Tavano will have to punt. It's 12-0 Niagara Falls. Tavano looks for a moment and then kicks it. And when he did that, he really, well, he got a good bounce. Actually, it's a Niagara Catholic bounce. It's down, but it is really shy of the 40-yard line, so the Falls will have excellent field possession.
It's been a dismal first quarter for Niagara Catholic, Bob, with their homecoming crowd in attendance. Poor field position and a bad punt on that attempt. And Niagara Falls just has everybody coming in at this point. And the rain, if you run the type of offense Niagara Catholic does, a lot of razzle-dazzle, slick ball handling, wet conditions are not to your liking.
4:23 to play in the first quarter. Niagara Falls leads by 12-0. Niagara Catholic's coming off of a 33-16 loss to O'Hara, and of course Niagara Falls is coming off a big win off Niagara Wheatfield. So you have two teams going in different directions. Here is Fair with some good blocking up front, and he has to be tackled by the Niagara Catholic secondary. So you know what that means. That means he's gotten at least 7 yards on the play. It'll be second down. And Niagara Catholic is giving up big chunks of yardage and allowing Niagara Falls to operate on 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, where you can really gamble, you can open up your offense.
Not only the wet field conditions are not only bothering Niagara Catholic, but the roof's leaking here, and I'm being forced to move closer and closer.
That's why Bob moved in. I thought you were getting kind of close. I didn't know what the reason was, but now I know it's the weather. There's a pass that is
right
dropped.
out of the hands of Rizzo.
Yep, that was a well-thrown pass, I'll tell you.
Joe Rizzo, number 10, a senior and son, of course, of defensive coordinator Joe Rizzo. He had his man beat there and just couldn't get the handle on the ball. If he had caught that, I think he would have gone all the way for the touchdown. Yeah. Right now, with 3:27 to go in the quarter, Niagara Falls still mixing it up. They have good field position, and one thing they don't want to do is let up, because last week, as they saw, Wheatfield came back, tied the game, and it looked at that point like the momentum had shifted. So I'm sure they're going to keep trying to put some points on the board here.
Well, they're in 4-down territory, Bob. I'm sure that if this play fails to get a first down, they still can attempt it on 4th down. They're going to run Smith on that rollout, and he's going to get a first down. There's no question about it. He is just shy of getting a touchdown as he is tripped up and forced out of bounds. That was great blocking.
No deception on that play, Bob. Smith just rolls out to the right with his blockers out front, and he's got very quick feet. And it's tough once he goes past the line of scrimmage, as you'll see.
Watch this now, Bob, as he rolls to the right, and they just hem that end in. And then you can see a block by Connie, number 40, and then the Niagara Catholic defender coming to knock him out of bounds there, around the 13-yard line. So Niagara Falls is having everything their own way in this first quarter. Delay, they run Fair, and Fair gets inside the 10, maybe to the 9-yard line before he's stacked up. Another 4-yard gain by Fred Fair, and he's adding yardage to his total. He had an outstanding running game last week against Niagara Wheatfield. We talked a lot about Wilkinson for Niagara Wheatfield, but Fair had a very fine running day.
I'll tell you the truth, Bob. It amazed me the outcome of last week's game. Not the fact that Niagara Falls won the game, but by 2 touchdowns, and to do it on the ground against what many people had thought was a veteran senior line from Niagara Wheatfield. And so, as I said, Coach Roger Haley and his staff really has this team on a roll, and they're on a up note.
I think you got to give a lot of credit to the Niagara Falls offensive line. They've done some good work. Conti, look at this. Conti has got a touchdown. All he had to do was break one tackle there, Bob, and that was really a case of arm tackling that time, as Conti got into the end zone, number 40. That's a backup running back. He's the backup to Tiemann, number 40, Conti. Watch him, just the arm tackle here, see? And now he's into the end zone. Once he broke the line of scrimmage, there was just one man. It's 18-0, and we haven't finished the first quarter. They're going to try one, and Smith misses the extra point. So Niagara Falls has scored 3 touchdowns they could be ahead 24-0 if they had converted.
The only thing they haven't been able to do is convert
Exactly.
the extra point.
That's all they have done wrong today is miss 2 pass conversions and now the first kick by Roger Smith. But they lead 18-0. Conti, Alonzo James have scored touchdowns along with Freddie Fair.
I'm surprised at the one-sidedness of this first quarter, Bob. I expected a closer game, especially with the weather conditions. But for some consolation for Niagara Catholic fans is the fact that this is a very young team. They have Niagara Falls again next year, and Niagara Falls will be a young team, and they'll be the veterans, so things will be a little bit different. But it's still early. It's still in the first quarter. A lot can happen in high school football, and all we need is a couple odd bounces of the ball, but Niagara Catholic needs a sustained drive on one of these kickoffs to get a little confidence back.
They're going to have to do some blocking, Bob. They have to give their quarterback some protection and their running back some protection. Here comes Tavano. We said he had a 70-yard return last week. He won't get it this time as...
The problem on that was all his blockers had already run about 20 yards upfield before he even caught the ball, so he was back there all by himself.
Yeah, somebody forgot about Castellani, number 26. They never blocked him. He is one of the surest tacklers on the Niagara Falls team, and when he got that shot at Tavano, he put him away. 2:22 to play unofficially.
You know, I think one of the problems for Niagara Catholic is the fact that I do not see Moose Ferrulo on the sidelines, Bob. He was supposed to be here tonight.
Oh, I wanted to talk about that. What an interesting show and what an interesting personality. You're going to have to get him back.
The Moose, he's become a folk hero, and I'm sure the Moose will be back. He should be here sometime tonight.
That Condino and Rizzo looked like Rowan and Martin. I mean, they were they were really funny.
Martin and Lewis.
There's what we're talking about, Bob. It's just the general breakdown in the blocking for Niagara Catholic. You see their running backs really have no opportunity to get the play started. The Niagara Falls defenders are actually in their back. Alonzo James has been in the backfield more than the Niagara Catholic running backs.
That first series, Niagara Catholic looked impressive moving the ball. They were able to run to the outside, and Capanola hit a couple quick passes. But since that interception by Alfonso, it seems that the momentum not only has changed, but I think Niagara Catholic's down a little bit, Bob. I don't think these youngsters have too much confidence out there at this point.
Well, they need a big play here. They need something to get them inspired. They're going to throw the football. Tavano throws, and you saw what happened. That was to Fagan. Stopa was there. Let's take a moment and have a commercial word from our sponsor.
This is Frank Soda, candidate for City Council. Integrity, commitment, strength of character, and rational problem solving are all qualities we try to instill in our young people. They are the substance of leadership. Whether in the classroom, on the football field, or in the arena of public service, the ability to guide and direct the course of events quickly distinguishes the true leader. As a graduate of Bishop Duffy High School, I would like to congratulate Niagara Catholic on its homecoming and to extend to all our young people the hope of a better tomorrow in Niagara Falls.
Our scouting staff below, Bob, has told us that the Niagara Falls has turned down a legal procedure penalty on that previous play. Now you see Tavano slip. As he went to pass, his knee touched. We've gone over that so many times about that being the end of the play in high school football. But Niagara Catholic actually is going backwards, and now it's 4th down. They're forced to punt, and realistically, even if they get a good punt off, Niagara Falls is going to have excellent field position again.
Things are really snowballing against Niagara Catholic. Nothing seems to be going right. It's just a shame with the rain and the homecoming and everything else to have this type of game. It's a coach's nightmare, really.
Tavano is in the end zone, or just shy of the end zone, and he gets a kickoff, and it's
Nice
it really is a good kick. Chamberlain's going to have to fair catch it, does a good job of that, but as we mentioned, the ball is still at the 38-yard line, so this is really where Niagara Falls started a previous drive, and they went in on that on a well-developed series of plays with Freddie Fair picking up most of the yardage on the ground, and look at the rain come down. So,
out here at Sal Magley Stadium, and I'd like to take this time to wish Sal Magley a get well wish. He's at Memorial Hospital right at this time, and he's resting up in there. If somebody'd like to drop him a card, he's in room 435 at Memorial Hospital. So send the barber a note. He'd like to hear from you.
Fumble,
There's a
Bob.
fumble.
Maybe Niagara Catholic. No, it looked like it went back into the hands of. What are they going to call?
Looks
okay,
like
there's the break
Niagara
we're talking
Catholic
about. Yeah.
ball.
It was juggled there was really never a good connection in the handoff, and the running back just sort of coughed it up as he went into the line of scrimmage. It It hit the turf, and a Niagara Catholic player beat the Niagara Falls player. So this is a break because now they're out from within the shadow of their own end zone. They're at their own 38-yard line. Yeah, we'd like our viewers to send Sal a message along. Obviously, this stadium is named after one of the great athletes to ever perform in Major League Baseball, a representative of Niagara Falls. The pass is picked off, and Billy Chamberlain has the interception. A very alert play by Billy Chamberlain as he caught the deflection. Looks like something that happens to the Bills, doesn't it, Bob?
It sure does. That's why they have the tip drill in practice, Bob. They always coach the defenders to be aware of where the ball is and be ready to catch that deflection. You'll see the ball, it goes off the hands of a receiver, and that's number 47, and then the catch. And he makes a nice little run back here, too.
Yeah, he picks up the yardage. That was Campbell. And that's the end of the first quarter. We're going to take a moment and hear a commercial word from our sponsor.
This is Frank Soda, candidate for City Council. Integrity, commitment, strength of character, and rational problem solving are all qualities we try to instill in our young people. They are the substance of leadership. Whether in the classroom, on the football field, or in the arena of public service, the ability to guide and direct the course of events quickly distinguishes the true leader. As a graduate of Bishop Duffy High School, I would like to congratulate Niagara Catholic on its homecoming and to extend to all our young people the hope of a better tomorrow in Niagara Falls.
All right, you can look at the Niagara Catholic side. Remember, Niagara Falls is on the other side tonight. Niagara Catholic is the home team. This is their homecoming, and in the first quarter it hasn't been a very happy one because Niagara Falls has been able to score 18 points, and Niagara Catholic hasn't responded with any. That's Gamble in motion, and this is Smith carrying the football behind some good blocking, and he gets the ball inside the Niagara Catholic 30-yard line to their 29. It'll be second down from there.
You know, Bob, just to bring up a point, we heard a commercial message there a few minutes ago from a gentleman running for council, and I just want to mention to our people out there listening and the sports fans that pay attention to who's running for political office. You're looking at a field right now that's come under criticism as far as the city being able to take care of the facilities, and the people that you vote for now are going to be the ones that are going to have to worry about your youngsters' futures out there, so think about that before you go to the polls.
Certainly, one of our sponsors is well known as there's a fumble in the backfield, and it's picked off by Niagara Catholic as Tiemann slipped, and then when he went to turn to pick the ball up, it wasn't there. So, excuse me, on 2 consecutive turnovers, Niagara Falls has given the ball back to Niagara Catholic.
You're going to see a lot of that in this game with the field conditions and the water the way it is. Not so much the mud, but the ball is very slick.
See, Tiemann looked the other way.
Never really had it.
Yeah, his footing, he just couldn't get his footing to get back to the football, and Niagara Catholic picks it up.
That's a frustrating feeling to be laying there on the ground and reaching for the ball, have it just out of your reach, and have the other team pounce on it.
Here's the quick pitch to Fagan. Fagan tries to turn the corner and does. Fagan's got good yardage, and Fagan is finally dragged out of bounds after a very impressive run. That was Tommy Patty, number 24, who made the tackle.
Joe Dahl very upset about something on the sidelines down there. I don't know. There you can see it with the football written on the back of his jacket. Very upset about it. I don't know if it was a late hit or what out of bounds, but if I was Niagara Catholic, I'd go to the outside with Fagan a little bit more. Once he picks up a little bit of steam, he's a tough fella to bring down.
Maybe Joe Dahl, who was pacing and he got the baseball cap on, was anticipating a late hit there, or maybe he thought there may have been a late hit on that play. We're in the second quarter of action. Niagara Catholic has the football. They trail by 18 points. They're going to throw a halfback option if they can get it off. Bennett misses them. This is Tavano. Nice effort by Tavano. He was almost splattered on 2 occasions, but he got out of it and picked up a couple yards.
And you can hear Joe Rizzo across the sidelines, at least I can, screaming as we look at Frank Soda, the council candidate who's sponsoring this game tonight. But number 85 was all alone out there for Niagara Catholic on that little flea flicker play, and that was Joe Gallo. And Coach Rizzo screaming across the way there that you got to pick up on that, and had the gentleman been able to throw the ball downfield, that may have been a touchdown.
Frank Soda, of course, we mentioned, you saw him on your screen, of course, was a teacher at Niagara Catholic for a long period of time. Here's Fagan turning the corner again. Nice run, first down and more. And he has to be jostled out of bounds at the 35-yard line.
Well, now you can see a little bit of life on that Niagara Catholic bench. They're getting a little excited down there. They've gotten down inside Niagara Falls territory, and with more than 9 minutes to go here in the first half. A lot can happen in high school football. Now we've got a timeout called by Coach Joe Rizzo over there at Niagara Falls.
All right, Joe Rizzo, come on the field. Bob, we've adopted a high school trivia question over the last few weeks, and we think we have an interesting one this week. We have tried to keep our questions, our trivia questions, related just to trivia, and you might have the answer. I know you haven't seen the question yet, but maybe it'll be coming up on, there it is on the screen right now. What did, and don't make a joke out of this, what did Roger
Haley
and Richard Condino have
other
in
than
common
Joe Rizzo
during their high school days? Of course, it had something to do with football, I would hope you would imagine, but think about that for a while. We're going to come back with some information on that question, and I think you're going to find it interesting as we detail what they did have in common. The question again was, what did the two respective coaches for tonight's game have in common?
Of course, Roger Haley went to Trot Vocational, and Rich Condino went to Duffy, which
Duffy
is now
at the
Niagara
time, right?
Catholic. He told me the other day it was a tough transition for him to go to Duffy, which was an all-boys school, wear a shirt and tie every day to school. He said it took him a little while to adjust, but obviously he hasn't. He's taken a liking to that school.
There he is on your screen. A little disconsolate at this point in time because his team really hasn't put together a long drive. There's a fumble. We've had a lot of turnovers. I don't know which way this one's going to go. I think Niagara Catholic,
looks like they got their own fumble back.
Yeah, that ball, again, it's mishandled. It is wet. We really don't see the rain. Mark Capanola did recover the fumble.
You know, as you watch these games, and I've had a chance to watch them at home, of course, this year on Friday nights. Now that I'm married, I sit home on Friday nights and watch the high school games over again. But great camera work, great job done by this cable crew. And Mark Costanzo down there on the sidelines comes up with what I would consider network quality shots down there.
And that's all we've heard about consistently all through the years, the outstanding work this cable crew has done. Capanola gets the pass up, and it is ruled complete. Yeah.
That's number 85, Joey Gallo again.
That's what Joe Rizzo was hollering about. You can't let the defender get behind you. Watch this play now, and Capanola comes within an eyelash of getting smattered on this play. Watch it. Here comes Alfonso James. He just misses him, and then Capanola makes connections as Gallo beat Patty, number 24, on the reception. And now Niagara Catholic is in good field position, chance to get on the board. And Bob, if they score and convert to 2 points, they're right back in the game.
That's right, they're only down by 10.
Capanola, you saw the motion. You saw the motion on the outside. That'll be a 5-yard penalty against Niagara Catholic. That was pretty obvious.
That'll kill you, Bob, especially down near the goal line. We keep bringing up the Bills. Every time somebody makes a mistake, unfortunately for Buffalo, we bring up the Bills. But there's we see two
fans of...
two fans. Still going to high school, Bob?
It looks like Mike Adriatico. I think that is Mike Adriatico, one of the outstanding golfers at... that's the boy, by the way, Mike Adriatico.
Yeah, I figured
one of the outstanding golfers at Niagara Catholic. They had an outstanding golf team this year.
I may have gotten married, but I still know where the cute girls are.
We had an unusual week. I was going to tell you about the two girls that came down to scout Niagara Falls' practice from Niagara Catholic. I'll pick that point up in a moment. Here's a running play with Fagan. He really banged in there.
Fagan's impressive on the sweeps, Bob. He's a powerful runner. And somebody, as I said, only a sophomore for Niagara Catholic. He'll be impressive in the years to come, but they've had success going wide with the running.
There's our trivia question, Bob. What did Roger Haley and Rich Condino have in common during high school days? We're going to come back with an answer after this series begins. Do you think that Niagara Catholic has discovered on something on the left side of this line? Boy, they have run that play consistently. They go inside the Fagan, and he's really ganged up there.
They didn't have much success to the right, so they may go back to the left on this next play.
Boy, they have really run the ball to the left effectively with that quick pitch to Fagan. They see something out there, and they really haven't gone anywhere when they try to go inside or to the right. They're huddled around here. I wanted to make that point about the two girls. I was at practice the other day talking about the 10 men on the field when Niagara Wheatfield scored the touchdown. We wondered what happened on that play. And, of course, Jimmy Johnson, 42, an outstanding cornerback for Niagara Falls High School, broke his arm in last week's game and had been taken out of the game. And his sub didn't get into the game, and that's why Haggerty was so alone on that pass play. But we were talking about things in general with Coach Haley and the other coaching on the staff. And here, lo and behold, are two young girls, a girl by the name of Safuto and another young lady by the name of Vitrone, and they were there scouting Niagara Falls High School. They wanted to find out about what they were doing and their running attack. I thought it was hilarious. I told them I'd mention it. There's a pass, and it's complete, and then it's dropped.
Well, that's no interference call on the play, but it looked like the defender may have gotten a hand in there before the ball was thrown, but before the ball was caught, I should say. And on that throw, maybe we should give the answer to our trivia question, Bob.
Yeah, the answer is that they were both quarterbacks, but there's much more to that. You don't really think of Richard Condino as a quarterback because he went on to be such an outstanding running back at University of Buffalo. But I want to tell you a little bit more about that. They were both quarterbacks. This was 1960 now, 1960 season. It's going to date those gentlemen. Tell you a little bit more about what happened in that year.
Big fourth down play.
Here is, you saw Capanola never had a chance to get the play started. He was mugged by Nicastro, number 64. We got a flag down. Now, maybe they may call a face mask. Maybe this could be a break for Niagara Catholic. While they're debating his flag, let's take a commercial break.
This is Frank Soda, candidate for City Council. Integrity, commitment, strength of character, and rational problem solving are all qualities we try to instill in our young people. They are the substance of leadership. Whether in the classroom, on the football field, or in the arena of public service, the ability to guide and direct the course of events quickly distinguishes the true leader. As a graduate of Bishop Duffy High School, I would like to congratulate Niagara Catholic on its homecoming and to extend to all our young people the hope of a better tomorrow in Niagara Falls.
Whatever that was about, Bob, that flag.
Well, you're offsetting penalties, Bob. Personal foul was one of them, but
it must have been after the whistle had blown, because obviously
the ball was dead.
You'd run the play again, so the ball had to be dead. Here's the unsportsmanlike conduct call. Yes, that's what the interpretation is.
Yeah, it wasn't there wasn't offsetting penalties, just the penalty against Niagara Falls, but it was after the play was dead.
And it was only half the distance because of where they're located, right in the shadow of their goal line. There's a run. Look at the room that Fair has. See how the difference between Niagara Catholic and Niagara Falls High School is that Fair has 3 or 4 steps before someone actually puts a hand on him. That's the blocking that he's getting in the front line. You know, I want to talk about that trivia question, Bob. Both of them were quarterbacks. It was 1960. Do you know who the third quarterback in the city was? Because obviously you said before, Roger Haley was at Trot, and Rich Condino was at Bishop Duffy at the time. Who was at Niagara Falls High School?
That wasn't Dan Bizzani, was it?
That's who it was. Dan Bizzani was the quarterback at Niagara Falls High School in 1960. A couple other interesting things happened then, as you see the running play with Fair carrying the ball again. Niagara Falls is just trying to wedge out some yardage here to get some running room. In that particular year, Roger Haley became the first Niagara Frontier League quarterback to throw for over 1,000 yards. That was a record at the time. I don't know. I think Rick Quesada, who went on to have a great pro career, may have broken that record, but his primary target, as we have said many times on cable, was Joe Rizzo. I was astounded to find out that he caught 46 out of 49 passes that year. That's incredible. There was only 3 that there's a flag down and a pass that goes incomplete, intended for Tiemann, but there's a flag down on the play. So,
well, I'd like to know who kept the stats as to how many were actually thrown his way. And
well, it wasn't John Rizzo. Yeah. I mean, we know that. That is incredible. And of course, Roger then went on to play at Michigan State for Biggie Munn. He had an outstanding career there. I remember one time he came in, it was on national television. They called him Haley's Comets. Lindsey Nelson was doing a game. He was not a starter, but he was one of their chief passing quarterbacks. And when they needed to come from behind, they would feature Roger. Here's the punt now by Roger Smith on 4th down. Is that pass? Look at this punt. Has this guy done anything wrong tonight? Tavano has to get it at his own 38. He's hemmed in. Then he does a nice job of getting outside. Nice run by Tavano. Boy, he set that run up beautifully, Bob. He was hemmed in, and he waited. He waited, and then he got outside.
Well, Niagara Catholic, again, with good field position, the ball down to the 40-yard line, but just a matter of whether or not they can punch it in.
Watch how Tavano sets up this return now. Great punt by Smith from inside his 10-yard line to the 38 of Niagara Catholic. Now watch Tavano 19. He'll stop, go the other way, set a block, come outside, get some really good yardage here. 23 yards on the play.
Did you happen to see who was all the way down there for Niagara Falls, one of the first men? That was big number 78, Alfonso James.
What a super
Though he
game.
didn't make the tackle, he was certainly down there on the coverage.
Campanola, look, here's Alfonso James. He hit him, Bob. And if that pass is incomplete as it is intended for Brigani, that's the reason. Yeah.
Somebody's got to pick up James coming in on the outside because he's coming in untouched. Just leveled him on the tackle, and as you said, really caused that play to be incomplete because of putting the pressure in from the outside. You've got to hear him coming.
5:17 to play in the first half. Here's the replay. Watch Alfonso James hit from the blind side, hit Campanola. 18-0 is the score. Niagara Falls in control all the way in this football game. Niagara Catholic has played a lot better in this second quarter. There has been no scoring in the second quarter. Niagara Catholic has played Niagara Falls on even terms. There's a pass that Fagan probably might reconsider. He caught it, but he probably, if he had a chance, he probably would have thought about catching it.
Just no pass blocking on that Niagara Catholic line, Bob. They're coming right through. And Fagan, one of the bright spots for this team so far, if they could get the ball out to him on the flats, maybe to get him one-on-one with somebody, they might pick up some yards. But 5 minutes to go here in the first half. You're talking about Roger Haley and Joe Rizzo. Joe claims that that 1,000 yards that Roger picked up were all little swing passes that he threw to Joe, and Joe, of course, ran for the remainder of the yards. So I don't know. I was too young to remember that far back.
Here's another attempt by Campanola. He's got a man wide open, and it's broken up at the last second by Patty. Yeah, but I'll tell you something. Gallo was behind him. That's the second time now, and he had to make a very alert play, and you're going to see this on the replay, and you'll notice how far Gallo has more than just a step here. Campanola throws the ball, and it's just a little short. Now you saw Chamberlain coming in to give him help.
No deception on the play by Gallo. He just runs straight down the middle, Bob, and nobody seems to be picking him up. If anything, he's getting behind him, and that's, you don't want to give anybody a chance to get back in the ball game.
He caught a touchdown pass last week, did Gallo, from Tavano, a 25-yarder. There's Tavano's kick. Will it get into the end zone? Oh, is that going out of bounds on the 1?
You can't come any closer than that.
Amazing. That's on the 1-yard line.
That ball had eyes. It looked right for the marker at the corner of the end zone there and rolled right out. You can see where you can't see on our shot right now, but the official has his foot down there right around, looks to be what, maybe the 3-4 inch mark.
You know, Bob, that wasn't the prettiest. That really wasn't the prettiest kick in the world. You like to see those high lofters and then the ball bounced back. That was a line drive. It rolled. It looked like it was going to go into the end zone, and all of a sudden it took a veer to the right and went out of bounds, as you say, maybe on the 6-inch
Marcus Stanzel's right down there on the goal line. I'm sure you're going to get a perspective as to how much room Niagara Falls has to work with here.
Yeah, they've been bottled up. There it is.
Look at that.
There it is, yeah. What a picture that is. That's the kind of work that Mark's been doing with that camera. Beautiful shot. Of course, Smith will just wedge him out, get the ball to the 2-yard line.
Safest play right there.
You know, Joe Rizzo, of course, had his career cut short by an injury, and he probably would have gone on to play some college football. Now, Richard did go on to play at University of Buffalo, had an outstanding career. Of course, Danny Bizzani went out to get a scholarship and play basketball at University of Buffalo. So all three of them, really did have, they were high school quarterbacks at the time, and that must have been a real good year for high school football when you consider not only what they've done with themselves as athletes, but, as human beings. They really come on to...
I've got yet another addition to that story after this play, Bob.
Okay. Nice faking. They did a job on our cameraman that time. As you saw, the fake by Smith. The running play actually was with Fair carrying the ball. He got short yardage. They got to get to the 10-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 3.
Back to that quarterback story, Bob. Joe Rizzo, who had not gone out for football prior to his senior year, was talked into going out for football by Rich Condino, who played for Duffy, but Rich lived on the same street with Joe, worked out with Joe all summer long to go out for the team, and I'll finish this story after this play.
Now, let's see if the Falls get to pick up a first down here. Oh, a delay by Smith. He looked like he was trapped. Now he runs for the first down, breaks a couple tackles, runs to the midfield marker, and then is finally knocked out of bounds, and Smith actually got the ball to the 40-yard line. That's a 30-yard run.
He's amazing. That
Smith.
looks like the play he broke against Niagara Wheatfield last week. You'll take a look at this again. Once he gets to the outside, Roger Smith has a lot of speed and really knows how to run those sidelines, Bob.
Watch him stop here, Bob. He's actually standing still for a moment. Now he goes outside. and he just turns the corner and outruns everybody. And then he has to be forced out of bounds by 55 Brundage, who is an outstanding defensive player for Niagara Catholic. He had 10 tackles last week, 9 unassisted tackles. 2:55 to play. Smith back to throw, and the pass is complete. And that's Ligamari, and Ligamari is just short, of the 50-yard line. I was looking at Gamble. There actually were 2 receivers there. He hit Ligamari over the middle. Ligamari got the ball to the 49-yard line.
All right, let me finish this Joe Rizzo story before the game ends. Anyway, Rich Casino got Joe ready to go. Joe, as many of you know, lost his kidney playing for Trot that year. First thing he said to Rich in the hospital was, "You did this to me."
You can see where that rivalry developed, huh? There's a draw. They run Fair. Fair is in the Niagara Catholic territory, and Fair does a lot of running on his own. Got the ball to the 45-yard line. Some arm tackling again by Niagara Catholic, and some good running by Fred Fair.
Well, there's only 2:15 to go here in the half. Time will become a factor for Niagara Falls if they want to punch another one in. But they've taken this ball all the way down from their half-yard line and been impressive so far. Roger Smith, though, really, Bob, I guess you'd have to say makes his team go.
He is the straw that stirs the drink. 18 points put on the board, and Smith has been the instigator on each occasion he throws, and that play there was a block downfield. I know you can't do that.
All over the place.
And Niagara Falls, evidently, somebody tried to throw a block downfield. While we look at this interpretation, let's take a commercial break and come right back.
This is Frank Soda, candidate for City Council. Integrity, commitment, strength of character, and rational problem solving are all qualities we try to instill in our young people. They are the substance of leadership. Whether in the classroom, on the football field, or in the arena of public service, the ability to guide and direct the course of events quickly distinguishes the true leader. As a graduate of Bishop Duffy High School, I would like to congratulate Niagara Catholic on its homecoming and to extend to all our young people the hope of a better tomorrow in Niagara Falls.
That was an ineligible receiver downfield. That's a loss of down, by the way.
Third down.
There's a nice defensive play that time by Niagara Catholic as they rose to the occasion.
Number 80 finally got in there.
Eddie Degenhart made the tackle. That's the first time Niagara Catholic has been able to get in the backfield. You'll see Eddie Degenhart come from the blind side here and hit Smith as a pump fake. See the pump fake? He thought he had time, but Degenhart was there. Niagara Falls has got a punt again. We're running out of time in the first half. We have just over a minute to play. No scoring at all in the second quarter. Beautiful punt by Smith. Tavano's going to fair catch it at his 20-yard line.
He got that fair catch arm up there in a hurry and made the catch. And with 1:10 to go, I imagine Rich is going to play it pretty close to the vest and just try to go in at halftime and regroup and come out with something in that second half to get back on the board.
Well, outside of that interception, where Alfonso James intercepted the ball, ran it in for a touchdown, and then Niagara Catholic gave up some really good field position. The second quarter's been kind of even.
Yeah, well, the interception, then they fumbled the ball in their next possession, so really put Niagara Falls right down, I think it was about the 25-yard line. You're right, though, Bob. Other than that first quarter, it's been a very even ball game.
Fagan has been able to get outside, especially when they run to the left, away from Alfonso James, incidentally. They have had very little success. Eddie Scott found that out. They have very little success running at the heart of Niagara Falls' defense, which appears to be a little bigger. And
the only success they've had so far is Fagan coming out here to the left. And with clock's down about 47 seconds, it looks as though they're just content to run it out, but knowing Rich, you never know if they're going to throw one last...
Well, I'll tell you, Gallo's got open twice now. There he is on your screen, Richard Condino.
Rich has mellowed out a little bit over the years, Bob?
He certainly has. He has become much more patient. What do we have, a delay here as the official? But again, Bob, he has been confronted with some teams in the last few years that have dictated him being patient. He's had a lot of young teams. And you have to be patient with younger players. When he started, he was blessed with some very good football teams. And he's been very consistent in his coaching. He's done an outstanding job in his whole career there, as well as the Niagara Falls High School staff. This is really a good year for Niagara Falls High School. Really
well,
a good
Niagara
year.
Falls goes one way, and for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, everybody plays just either offense or defense, unlike most high school teams where players, if you're a talented player, you play both. So you have 22 kids playing for Niagara Falls High School starting.
There's the end of the first half, Bob, and I wanted to just hitchhike on that last point. I'll tell you, Niagara Falls has a big game coming up with Newport that can really determine the success of their season next week. That's in Newport. We'll be doing that game. We'll also be doing Newport Niagara Wheatfield this weekend. Well, you've seen the first half. You've seen a first quarter, actually, that was dominated by Niagara Falls High School when they scored 18 points, got the lead, and then in the second quarter, we've had the teams play on relatively even terms. We're going to come back and look at the second half action as we take our break and come back. All right, we're ready for second half action as Niagara Catholic's team moves on back onto the field, and so does Niagara Falls High School. Roger Smith leads his team out. You remember Roger Smith kicked off to start the game, and Bob, during the half we talked to some of the observers and found out that that initial penalty on Coach Jim Condino was what we had talked about but really hadn't picked up, and that was that a Niagara Falls player had come to the wrong side of the field and was standing next to Jim Condino, and therefore he went on the field to say that that's a penalty, and obviously that's what happened, why he was so adamant in his discussion. We're sorry we didn't notice that at the time, but we thought we'd make that clarification for you now. Roger Smith will kick off again to start the second half. Jimmy Tavana will be deep, number 19. The score is 18-0. Niagara Falls is in the lead. They scored all their points in the first quarter. Here's the second half kickoff. And it goes to Tavano, the lone back. And he comes right up the middle. And for a while he doesn't see anybody, and now he's in the open. He's got one man to beat and actually ran into his own blocker. Tavano, you know, that was a very unusual return.
If number 64 could have gotten a block, that was Chuck Ogrodowski. If he could have gotten a block down there.
Watch how this play develops, Bob. Watch how Tavano will come up the middle here. He's all alone back here. It looks like some of the Niagara Falls people will over-pursue. Look, see him picking out a spot here. Now he finds the lane. There's the lane. See, here comes up this lane. Now watch. He's got those guys. Well, he may have not outrun those people, but there's the block that Bob was talking about. And now we're back to live action, a running play. Capanola to hand it off to Eddie Scott on a play, and Eddie Scott got himself 5 yards. It's second down. Niagara Falls finds Niagara Catholic in their territory for once.
Nothing like a nice run back on the kickoff to get you back up for the game. And we keep talking about opportunities here. Niagara Catholic was all the way down to the 10-yard line earlier in the first half. They came away with no points, but a touchdown here will change the complexion of the game.
Fagan, just missed getting outside. The penalty flag is down. Fagan was trying to turn that corner, and then they hemmed him in. That's what Niagara Catholic has been trying to do all night, Bob. They've been trying to keep Smith inside. And for some reason, some of the defenders have been letting him get outside. I know that's Coach Condino's plan, is to let Smith, the quarterback, run, but inside.
Holding called against Niagara Catholic, and that's going to set him back. And it seems just as they start to get something going, they do something to hurt themselves. And that's a 10-yard penalty that's going to cost them right there.
Now that's a mark of a young team that will make mistakes, and you can understand that in high school football. It's very hard to tolerate in professional football, and that's why I think so many of the fans are upset with the Buffalo Bills. I know you have your own show. That's a very interesting show you have when you make your selections. You haven't been too accurate with the Bills, but
Some people even accuse me of doing that all in jest, but
here goes Capanola. And he gets the yardage back that they lost on a previous play, on almost all of that yardage on that holding penalty. Holding penalties are 10 yards now. I got an inclination, Bob, that I've been right every week picking against the Bills, but I've got an inclination that this is going to be the week they're going to win.
people seem to think so. The odds makers have made it an even game, which is hard to believe, but maybe the addition of Joe Cribbs will give them the incentive they need.
Well,
Certainly anything could help that team.
I think the big point, though, is that it's going to have to be a low-scoring game. I was thinking of something under 23.
Total points?
Yes, under 23. And I think if it goes over that total, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I'm looking. Oh, there's a pass that's picked off. And Stopa may have a touchdown himself if he can beat one more man. And Stopa is going to score a touchdown on a dying quail that was thrown by Mark Capanola right into the hands of Chris Stopa. And Chris Stopa did the rest, ran it back about 67 yards for a touchdown.
Turnovers have really hurt Niagara Catholic. This is the way they started out the game. You see Capanola roll out, and this ball is tipped. And I think that was Alfonso James who got his hands on that ball.
You're right, Bob. In fairness to Capanola, the ball was tipped. There goes Stopa. He beats the last man to make the tackle, goes into the end zone, returns it for a touchdown. The second interception that has been returned. Look at the rain come down now.
Alfonso James has had a hand literally in every big play in this game practically, and he got a hand on that ball, which caused the interception.
Well, Bob, as we were looking at that fine run back and talking about what a job Stopa did, the referees were thinking about something else. They picked up a clipping penalty.
They're going to have replays.
Yep. They're going to say that's a nice run, Stopa. You can look at the replay, but it doesn't count because the ball is going to come back after the clipping penalty. It'll be Niagara Falls' ball. The interception will stand, but not the touchdown. So Chris Stopa's denied a beautiful return, but he does get credit for the interception. Good faking by Smith, and there he goes outside again. See, this is what I know Coach Condino has talked about, is don't let Smith get outside, and that's what they've been doing.
How can you stop Roger Smith from getting outside? It's tough because even when the plays are broken down, he managed to make. There's a loyal fan sitting in the rain.
He's trying out that new yellow slicker, seeing if it can, how much rain.
Joe Agnavine was renting those out at the gate on the way in.
See how much rain it can really take. It's obviously a first down. We have 9:06 to play in the third period. Niagara Falls in complete control here. Fumble. That's really been their only nemesis all night, Bob, is their inability to hang on to the ball. Other than that, they've been pretty well letter perfect defensively and offensively. They've had some trouble handing the ball off and actually hanging on to it on occasion.
We have some slick field conditions. Niagara Falls used to playing on the Sal Magny field, as is Niagara Catholic. You're playing on a baseball diamond, and hopefully in a little while we'll take a look at that infield, and we'll talk about another sport, and a sport that will be in jeopardy in the spring because of this football game.
Yeah, and the field isn't getting any better because the rain continues to fall. Smith drops back. Good protection. Oh, nice reception. Beautiful catch by Terrence Gamble, 48. That pass was letter perfect, right on the money.
And you can tell he hasn't been in the game much because his shirt's nice and clean. Now there's the mud on the infield, and the yard markers are what we'll take a look at in a second.
Watch how Gamble has this ball and he softly cushions it right there. Now, see, that's a nice pass. And Gamble caught a touchdown last week against Niagara Wheatfield. He makes a nice reception there. Niagara Catholic has the ball. Niagara Falls actually has the ball at the 29-yard line of Niagara Catholic. I was going to say they're going to have to toughen up on that pass defense. People have been getting open over the middle. There's a running play with Tiemann. Tiemann hasn't carried the ball too much tonight, but that time he ripped off some big yardage. Number 12, John Tiemann. He was responsible, Bob. You're talking about kickoff returns. I thought his kickoff return was the turning point.
That was
in the Niagara Wheatfield game.
Turning point in the Wheatfield game. I was talking about those yard markers that are on the field, and on the infield of the baseball portion of this football field, the yard markers have been skinned down right to the dirt. You can see it right there. So in the springtime, you have little trenches dug into the infield, and then the city uses that as an excuse for not allowing the high school baseball teams in the stadium.
Oh, that play is bad. Nice defense that time by Niagara Catholic. Finally, we can say some good things about Niagara Catholic's defense. We haven't been able to say too much about that. They really bottled up Teeman in his own backfield that time. David Brundage led the defensive charge. Got a lot of help that time. Number 55, he's coming to the sidelines now. Actually, that is not Brundage. That's 75, Abusick coming to the sidelines. Brundage is still out there calling the defensive signals.
I remember a game a couple of years ago I did with Niagara Catholic. Rich Condino changed all the jersey numbers to fake out the other team, but never told us up in the booth.
Yeah, I checked that before we came here.
When we were calling kids the wrong numbers all week, we got calls from parents complaining that we didn't know who we were covering.
There's a pass, Bob, and Rizzo's open, then he slips. The ball actually was thrown in the direction of Rizzo. Now you can see some of the fans talking about Niagara Falls
Call home,
but really, it's Niagara Catholic's homecoming. We haven't said too much about it. We had several parades. We had a parade before the game, and we had a parade at halftime. They did a nice job, did the Niagara Catholic students.
What local high school would you show up for homecoming at, Bob?
Would I show up? Niagara Falls High School.
Graduate of Niagara Falls High School?
Yes. I would show up there. I coached at Niagara Catholic, obviously, for 13 years when it was Bishop Duffy, but Niagara Falls is where I graduated from. There goes Smith. They hemmed him in a little bit, but he cut back, and now the flag. After Smith, there's a Niagara Catholic player down. You know, Bob, Smith is one of these quarterbacks that picks up 100 yards a game. That's such an oddity.
Easy. You can see some of the mud that's accumulated on a Niagara Catholic player on the sidelines there. And Bob, they told me that they ended your career at Niagara Catholic when they added girls to the school. They asked you to leave after.
They didn't play. Sometimes our teams didn't play that well, but no, there were girls there. Of course, Madonna was a separate school at the time, and the cheerleaders came from Madonna. We started there in 1961. It was funny because in 1960 we were talking about in the first half was when these young people were playing quarterback, you know, all three of them, and I was starting coaching in 1961. And ironically, the first year I started as a freshman coach, that was the lone year that Niagara Catholic won the Manhattan Cup under Guy Sotil. He was the head coach, and Henry Nichols, who is an outstanding referee now, was the JV coach. I was the freshman coach. There's a screen, and he got Teeman open along the sidelines, and he had to push his man to get a block, and then he was banged out of bounds. Niagara Catholic supporters, they're along the sidelines now.
Of course, you were a child coach, right, Bob? Back in 1960, 61, just...
I was a child, all
just
right.
out of high school
I might have
yourself.
coached like one. I don't know if I... But that was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that experience working with the students, and I've had an opportunity now to work at all the high schools with my current job, and I really enjoy, you know, moving around. As you look at Mr. Sobchak, he's got a couple sons attending. He's the gentleman in the red jacket. I don't know the other gentleman with the umbrella. Here is a throw over the middle, and he's got a man, and they have another first down, and they're inside the 5-yard line. That's Ligamari. He had one of his better nights, getting open and catching passes.
Well, it's close to the first down.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that, Bob. I thought that was a first down. You're right.
I think we're going to have a measurement here.
Yeah, I just looked over there quickly, and I may have misread the down marker as well.
5:12 to go here in the third quarter, and to be quite honest about it, this game looked like it would be a complete rout in that first quarter, one of those 48-0 type games, but Niagara Catholic is stiffened up, and turnovers have hurt Niagara Falls, but it looks like they got a first down on that measurement.
So even though we jumped the gun on the call, they did get a first down. I saw them start to move. Of course, that's not that all-league chain crew. This is the chain crew that works with Niagara Catholic, that all-league chain crew consisting of Bud Schimmel and Joe Gentile and Bill Sargent. They do the Niagara Falls games. They've been together for 31 years, and they're going to get a tryout next week in the USFL. USFL might try them out. They're going to work with the one of the defunct teams in that league, see what they can do. There's a running play. You can just see, look like a rugby game there now.
You know, Bob, Vince Lorendi Sr. just came into the booth, the owner of Niagara Frontier Cable, and you know, one of these games you should have Vince as your color commentator for a game. That would be different. Vince played in the what bowl was that, Vince? The Jungle Bowl in the Philippines, right?
Yes, he played against he was a halfback. General MacArthur was the quarterback.
General Patton was a wingback. I think, on that team.
They played at Bataan. I think it was Bataan or Iwo Jima. I don't know what the field was. But Vince is here tonight, the Gray Fox. He looks very good. He comes to see the high school game. There's one that
in and out of
we were talking about Ligamari having a night. He had a touchdown there, and the ball just slipped out of his hands. May have looked away. It's third down. You're going to see or get an opportunity to see how well this ball is thrown, and then see the ball just drop to the ground there. The defender actually was behind Ligamari.
Yeah, that would have been a touchdown pass, probably under drier conditions.
Niagara Falls is really not scored through the air tonight. They've had an interception and 2 runs. So they had some good passes.
That's a great shot right there.
Yes, it is. Nice fake, and there goes Smith. Did he hit that line marker? He's right there. If he didn't, it'll be 4th down, and it'll be right at the goal line.
You know, Bob, not to get off the game, but of course you've been involved with cable games for so many years, and for many years I was able to do the play-by-play on these games, and knowing how we first started out in black and white, I remember the first time we tried to do a multi-camera game, and the guys were changing the camera shots right in the middle of a play, so you couldn't tell if the guy ran for 5 yards or 50. And come a long way.
We certainly have.
Fred Calandrelli and the staff doing a great job out here.
We're like Virginia Slims. We've come a long way, baby. I'll tell you, here's a 4th down running play for a touchdown. Into the end zone, untouched is John Tiemann, number 12. He gets a touchdown. Freddie Fair has had one. Alfonso James has had one. And now John Tiemann gets one as he cracks into the end zone.
24-0.
Let's see if here's the replay. Watch how Tiemann will go in untouched. Now the extra point attempt. And they're going to try it, and it is good.
You think we might see Tiemann move to quarterback on their next possession, Bob?
There's a possibility. You know, you're talking about coming a long way, Bob. We still got 3:14 to play in this quarter. It's 25-0. The first game we ever did on cable here, we did it from a car. I remember doing a game from a car. We did a Little League game actually, with the great Bob Perlman, who was your predecessor, and he's now in Florida. But we had, obviously, the technical aspect of this is just amazing.
Someday Bob Perlman, I'm sure, will come back. Nobody seems to leave cable, you know.
No, they all come back.
You go away for a couple of months, couple of years, but you always end up back there. George Beck did it, and you were off for a while. You came back. I was off for a while. I came back. And
you should have a giant reunion, you know, of all.
Annie Wallens is one of the few people that haven't come back. She was on cable for a while.
No, we can mention a few others that haven't come back either.
A few that didn't ask to come back.
Crusher Belinsky hasn't been around in a long time.
The Crusher hasn't come back. Moose Ferrulo maybe.
He may be our next star. 25-0 and a kick. Hits Tavano. I think so. But it'll be a touchback. Nope. What are they going to call? No, I guess they did call a touchback, yeah. Yeah, Moose, what's his last name?
Ferrulo, I think it is. Moose Ferrulo.
Well, with that jacket alone, he could be a budding star.
Well, we have an injured player down on the field.
Now your Catholic player is down at the 35-yard line, and they're just picking his head up there, so I guess he's all right. He may have got the wind knocked out of him.
Earlier I was talking about your council candidates, and then I talked about the infield out here, and unfortunately Niagara Falls is a very political city. No one knows that better than you, Bob, and you always have to have the right people in office if you have certain interests. And if you're involved with athletics, you have to be a little bit concerned about the budget cuts and the lack of facilities for the youngsters out here. And I talked about these markers on the infield, the yard markers. Unfortunately, they cut the yard markers so close to the surface that it leaves trenches in the spring. And of course, that's been the reason why the high school baseball teams were not allowed in here the last year or two. And every year you hope that they don't do it that way. There you can see a shot of it right there. That's cut right down to the turf there. And in the springtime, you have a big trench left there. And the ball, of course, hit off a shot off the bat could cause an injury, so the kids aren't allowed to play there. It's a tough situation. You'd wish that the kids would just be left alone, and yet when you see parents have to come out and put their own backstops up, as the Hyde Park Little League did, hopefully you remember all those things when you go to vote, not to make a political statement, not telling you who to vote for one way or the other, but just remember who stands for what.
Brian Riley was the player that was hurt. He's all right. He came off the field under his own power. Eddie Scott carried the football after the handoff by Capanola. Second down for Niagara Catholic. And you're right, Bob. You take an emerging sport like soccer, and, you know, the interest in it locally, and you can see, I believe that's Riley doing some calisthenics along the sidelines, trying to get himself, I think it's Riley. No, that's not Riley. That's someone else on the Niagara Catholic, trying to loosen up. But anyway, there really isn't any field available for them to play, and you'd like to see them play right here in the stadium. I remember when soccer first started a couple years ago, we had a soccer team here that played here in the stadium. Lackawanna brought the team here, and that, you know, it's just an amazing thing. Athletics, we have a small town. There's a tremendous amount of interest in it. We've got a beautiful facility, as you said, and it just seems to be stumbling blocks all the time.
Last weekend I went down to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for a family wedding, and Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania is about the size of Niagara Falls population-wise, but athletics are just emphasized so much more down there. High school football is a major thing, and the facilities are in great shape.
Here goes Fagan behind the block of Scott.
Left
Fagan picks up a first down. They went to the left side again, Bob. They ran that left side. I think they sent Brundage over there, number 55, to block, and I think he follows Brundage's blocking, because definitely that is the one area tonight that Niagara Catholic has been able to exploit.
Well, up in the press box scouting tonight is Chuck Sirianni and the LaSalle coaching staff, and I'm sure they're paying attention to which side of the Niagara Falls defensive line that Niagara Catholic has had success.
Freddie Kellandrelli's car?
That's Fred's car. He must have just waxed it. See the water being up on there?
I thought he was directing tonight.
Well, he had Mark Costanzo and those guys wax his car prior to the game. That's
during the half.
When you're the director, you can do things like that.
There's a halfback option and a throw, and it's
right
short.
Through the arms. Was that number 30?
38 or 32.
38 or 32 there for Niagara Falls. It was either John Basile or it must have been John Basile.
Yeah, I would say it would be Basile. Some fans who's hanging out here. Here's the replay, Bob, and we'll see if it's Basile or not. There's the halfback option to Tabano, and yeah, there's
never got anything. Well, the receiver was just laying down on the ground, and ball well underthrown. Getting pretty slippery out there right now. And
25-0. We play in the third quarter. This is we've had one score in this quarter. Only got a minute 57 seconds to play. Fagan comes to the right side, and you can see why they don't run this side.
Number 44 comes up with a tackle, John Bennett.
John Bennett's been playing because of the injury to James Johnson, 42. We told you about Jimmy breaking his arm last week in the Niagara Wheatfield game. So Bennett has come in and played pretty steady football.
It's going to be an interesting game between Niagara Falls and Lewiston Porter, Bob. It'll be a very competitive game, and of course Niagara Falls still an outside shot for that wild card, as you said.
They're going to have to win that game, and of course we have a game tomorrow on Saturday, that is, Niagara Wheatfield and Lewiston Porter. And here comes Alfonso James putting the rush on Capanola, and is that I guess that's complete. Or is it intercepted? We got a flag down. We can't see. There's the flag. I don't know what the call is. I guess they're going to rule it incomplete.
Well, I think it's pass interference.
Yeah, that's
Niagara
what the
Falls.
call was. We're going to give them a first down on this. 15-yard penalty in high school football.
Mr. Kakamis on the call.
That's a little bit different, as you well know.
No overtime again this year, Bob, in high school football.
Yeah, we really haven't talked about that. We haven't gotten into that.
Well, I did a story last year on Channel 7 about that. We had a caller poll, and the people called in and said they wanted overtime back. Section said they would work it out with the officials and they'd get that straightened out. We had a flag now. Somebody jumped off line of scrimmage, but the officials, of course, wanted extra pay for overtime work, which consists of probably another 5 or 10 minutes to do. And we did both sides of the story. We thought it was going to be taken care of, but They came back this year, and there was no overtime again, so I guess the section must be happy with that arrangement because they made no
no one has said
attempt to change it.
anything about it, and I haven't read any follow-up stories on it.
It's a dangerous situation when you get into wild cards for Rich Stadium to not have tiebreakers such as overtime.
I guess it won't come up, Bob, until a tie game of significance.
Right, between two powerhouses is going to cause a major controversy.
That was an illegal motion penalty. Tavano's in at quarterback now, and that running back is dumped by Castellani and a few of his friends in the backfield.
You can see a lot of clean shirts in there for Niagara Falls, which means they're substituting. Joe Rizzo putting a lot of players on defense. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tiemann come in at quarterback on offense for Niagara Falls on their next possession. Niagara Catholic has so few numbers that they really can't do that one way or the other.
We had a whole quarter to play, Ed. We're just winding down in the third quarter.
You know, when I played, I was like that fellow we saw on the sidelines rolling around in the dirt. Get your uniform dirty so it looked like you played after the game.
And when everybody looked
at you,
at you,
3.5 years.
They look at you and say, "Man, you were in there for a lot, huh?"
That's right.
There's a pass that's short, and both quarterbacks, Capanola and Tavano, seem to be having trouble hanging on to the ball. That was the pass for Riley. You can see he's all right. He's back into the game. He was injured a moment ago. Niagara Catholic hasn't been able to get just on track tonight. They haven't been able to. The most effective play has been the sweep to the left, the quick pitch to the left to Fagan. And they had a couple occasions in the first half where Gallo got open.
Bob, you know, when you see two teams like we're watching tonight where numbers is really a problem on a squad, that's really when the coaches earn their paycheck, when they're able to put something together with 20, 30 players.
Oh, definitely.
Whoa.
Look out. Here's
There
a
he goes.
touchdown. Here's a touchdown. Stopa, who was denied, he was denied. Oh, look at that. He dropped the ball, and he still got into the end zone.
He's lucky he got that ball back, and that ball rolled through the end zone. It would have been a touchback, and Niagara Catholic would have gotten the ball back.
So Chris Stopa, who was denied earlier in the game on a clipping penalty, is not denied this time. Watch this. It looked like they threw the ball to Stopa. Here he goes into the end zone. Tavano chases him. Now he'll drop the ball, and he'll pick it up, as Bob said before, it rolled out of the end zone. It's a touchdown, and Stopa has had history repeat itself as he comes back and scores for Niagara Falls, and it is 31-0, and Smith will try to make it 2 in a row from placement. Here it is.
No, almost took somebody's head off with that kick. I'm surprised they're still throwing in the flats out there with these conditions, Bob. Very dangerous play. It's certainly hurt them in this game, and though it's a catch-22 situation because you're trying to get something going, you got to throw the ball, and it's certainly tough to throw downfield with the little bit of time that Tavano's getting in there.
Yeah, and no matter what you do, the defense has an opportunity to catch footballs, and obviously no matter who you have in there, once they get that football, they want to run for a touchdown. As you can see that rain continue to pelt down. That's a pretty heavy rain, I'll tell you.
Vince Loreni just brought up a good point, asking if you could advance the ball on a fumble, but of course he fell on the ball in the end zone, talking about Stopa.
Yeah.
But on another situation, under high school rules, Bob, were you able to pick up the ball and run with it, your own fumble?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. I thought there's so many variances in the rule. As you see, the bench is being pelted. I know you can run with someone else's fumble. I don't know if there's a difference in that particular
Well, you should
call.
be able to pick up your own fumble.
I would think so. Now your knee didn't touch or anything, so yeah, I would really, maybe we're making that a difficult question. Brigani is tackled on the return. What you're saying is he fumbled the ball, he dropped it. Well, sure he could pick it up, right? Because
isn't there one high school rule you can't advance? At least I think there was a rule a couple years ago where you can't advance.
I think that's changed.
You couldn't advance the fumble.
Yeah, I think that's changed. That's what I was thinking of. But I was thinking of the defense fumbling the ball and you picking it up. But in that case, the offense
You're
fumbled
right. I
the
think
ball.
we just made it.
We made it difficult. Yeah. That happened in pro football where the guy didn't actually fumble the ball, but a couple years ago, Jim Smith, who was now plays for the the Los Angeles Raiders, got to the 10-yard line and spiked the ball. He thought he was in the end zone. That was quite a play. It was on Monday Night Football.
That's the end of the quarter, Bob, and now we got one more quarter to go under rainy skies. And for the fans, the time certainly is going by slowly here.
It's going slowly for Niagara Catholic, I'll tell you. This is their homecoming, and They have won one game this year. They beat Pembroke. We had them on cable television. This is the third time we've seen Niagara Catholic. We've had them win against Pembroke, lose to Nichols, and now they're having a lot of trouble with Niagara Falls High School.
Well, at this point, they're playing for the future, and you can be sure that any points that are scored from this point on will be remembered by Coach Condino and his staff. And of course, Roger Haley on the other side, though, have never been one to run up the score. If anything, I think people have blamed him in the past for maybe not putting enough points on the board and
not keeping his team
wins.
sharp, you know, not being aggressive. And obviously, that's the point I was making before about the interception. Look at this. See how that running back was tackled right at the spot? And, you know, that was Orlando Mims, number 34, who's a backup in the game now. There are a lot of backup players in the game. But, Bob, when a defensive player intercepts a pass, you can't deny that opportunity. There's a shot of our booth.
Marcus Stanzo? There's a replay. Is that the Marcus Stanzo we saw entertaining us with some fine footwork a couple weeks ago?
Week? Yeah, that was when they did their dance. They were auditioning for Chorus Line, and they did the dance from New York, New York.
He was going to get a call from La Cage La Fall.
Well, maybe that was more appropriate, yeah. They are birds of a feather. Here's Fagan going to this left side again. And Sally, now you can see how the conditions affected his run that time. As you see him, he just tried to keep his balance as he was running.
Fagan's impressed me, though, with his running ability for a sophomore. I think he'll be a player to hear from. And the next year, certainly as a senior at Niagara Catholic. And Rich Condino has had some fine running backs in the past. And as I said, right now they've got to look towards the future. As I look down the roster, you see a lot of young players, a lot of sophomores, and ninth graders on their team, too.
Yep, and, you know, no matter who you're rooting for or what your where your allegiance may lie, you'd really like to see Niagara Catholic push across a touchdown. It would do a lot for their team's confidence. And they're a young team. There's a pass that's just broken up at the last second. It looked like Gallo was going to make the reception. The conditions aren't helping Niagara Catholic at all. Of course, they're down 31 points. They got to throw the ball, and you can see their uniforms are getting wet. The ball is soggy. Niagara Falls can, you know, play very loosely.
Well, I'd like to see Niagara Catholic get on the board. There's a nice shot. You see the rain in the background with the players in the foreground. But you'd like to see a competitive series between these two schools, being both from the city of Niagara Falls. Of course, Niagara Catholic played LaSalle a couple years ago. That was a one-sided affair for LaSalle. Rich has a young team coming up, and, well, here we go.
Orlando Mims got in there again on Capanola, but he got away from Mims and then picked up a yard or two. You know, they're doing it in basketball, Bob. Of course, we have a Festival of Lights tournament. There's a gentleman that's going to have some trouble.
Need some windshield wipers for his glasses.
He's helping out at Niagara Catholic. It may be Eric Ashford. But, Bob, they're playing basketball now. This year, Niagara Catholic will be playing against Trot in that Festival of Lights. You know, we have a team coming in from California, Amadora, California. That's right, to play in that Festival of Lights tournament. Here goes Fagan, and Fagan is going, he's just dragged down. That's Castellani. Castellani gives you 100% effort all of the time.
Some of these names on the Niagara Falls Power Cats and Niagara Catholic, many of them having older brothers have played at the school, and when you hear the name Castellani or Stopa,
they're both playing for UB, by the way. They're older brothers.
Older brother McGovern,
right? Jimmy Stopa and of course Vince Castellani are at University of Buffalo. They're having a big season under Bill Dando, although Canisius beat them last week.
And Joe Rizzo, who has younger brother John Rizzo, who's been with this team for about 10 years as a ball boy and everything else. He'll be up on the varsity level in a couple of years.
Boy, I bet you he could tell you some stories as he gets older. He's seen a lot. There, look at the determination on this running back. They just dig along. Greg McLean, number 32, gets a chance to run with the ball.
Wheel of Fortune star Dick Luciani just offered to sing Singing in the Rain in the background.
I like his chapeau. He's got a beautiful cap on tonight.
Dick, did you win that hat on Wheel of Fortune? Was that one of the articles you won? 2 hats you won on? On the rerun, he won.
They repeated that show, and he won again.
Dick in the doorway there. You can see
There he is.
Dick, wave to our camera. Well, we just lost him, but that's the Wheel of Fortune.
He's a big star now.
There's a pass.
Hey, Gallo!
Oh, through his hands. I thought we were going to have a score on that one.
Toliano and Patty were back, and Gallo was open. There's Vince Lorendi.
There's Dick
Mr.
Luciani
Gabriel.
has his back
Dick
to you
Luciani
there
has his back to you with the porcupine hat on, talking to Smokey
with the
Gentile.
cigar and always running for office, Dick Luciani.
Here's the replay on that previous play, Bob. And there you can see Gallo behind his men again, behind the two defenders, actually.
I'd say he has a knack of getting behind the defenders now. If they can just connect and make the catch and run, you think he can get on the board with that play.
8:43 to play. It's 31-0 in favor of Niagara Falls. And the rain continues to fall. And there is a running play that has Gary Fagan netting it looks like it's going to be very close to a first down. I thought they were going to move the yardsticks. I guess it is a first down.
Bob, who's doing the color commentating on the Newport Niagara Wheatfield?
Well, I waited for you. I was anticipating you asking. I'm been preparing my voice because I've got you got a young man who doesn't like to talk, and I'm going to try to draw him out. He's the head coach at Niagara Falls High School, Coach Roger Haley.
Yes, you're right. He's a silent fella.
So I thought maybe he can learn a little bit from you. Look at Capanola on that naked reverse on that quarterback. Capanola! Oh, I thought he might go there. He got to the 20-yard line. Nice run by Capanola. Nice fake as he got outside. Yes, Roger Haley will be with us. We try to get the coaches, Bob. You're going to see the run by Capanola, and then we'll make that point. See how he fakes and then gets outside. Good blocking that time. Good blocking, and Chamberlain chases him, and then finally he's dragged down. You know, we've had an opportunity to get you with your busy work schedule. Niagara Falls has called a timeout. Finally got a chance to talk with you this week. We've had Louis Panessa, George Beck. Later on this year with Paul Fortune. Later on this year we'll have Art Calandrelli, who will be retiring. Roger Haley would like to get some of the other coaches. And Roger has a day off tomorrow. He'll be out there scouting. And we thought he would get his insight. He's played Niagara Wheatfield, and he's going to be playing Newport in a week. So
just don't ask him any questions. That's all.
Well, you know, Roger's the kind of guy you ask what time it is, and he tells you how you make the watch.
A couple of weeks ago, it was mysterious. Roger Haley and Joe Rizzo would not come out to do an interview. For
I saw that show.
That was hard to believe, especially for Roger to turn down an interview. But as he pointed out to me the week after, they are hired as teachers first, and he said he was coaching a gym class or something. So,
well, he'll be pleased with his team's effort tonight, I'm sure, and we'll be really anticipating his comments. And when we look at Niagara Wheatfield for the second time and Lewiston Porter for the second time, we saw Newport beat LaSalle 7-6. And, of course, we saw Niagara Wheatfield lose last week to Niagara Falls High School. That's always a great game. Remember the game last year, Bob? Was it last year that Franklin kicked the field goal? Or was it? There's my memory slip.
You're right. Wheatfield won on a field goal last year after a very controversial
game?
Pass reception.
Yeah, we did that game. Fagan's got a man to beat. He fumbles. And Niagara Falls has recovered.
Do you believe that? Just when it looks like they're going to get in the end zone. See if we can pick up a number there.
That's Chamberlain, who was on the spot, number 16. He recovered the fumble after Fagan caught the pass and looked like Niagara Catholic was driving for their first score. Well, I guess it's not to be tonight. There goes Chamberlain to the sidelines, and Niagara Falls have the football, 7:56 to play. Yeah, that was a controversial catch. Remember, we were on the other side, and we ran that back on our replay. And
I think the replay showed that the ball was trapped, but that was last year's game. It should be interesting. Both teams not having the kind of year that you expect from both clubs, but it should be very competitive, always an intense rivalry.
Well, the replay has shown a lot of things. If you've watched baseball recently, you saw Lloyd Mosby make a catch with the Blue Jays that, was kind of controversial.
A lot of people still feel that he didn't catch that ball. I saw the replay. I thought he caught it, but people who were there, and there's the unknown fan who...
That's the unknown comic. Instead of wearing a bag, he wears a coat.
Got to give credit to a lot of these fans still staying out here for Niagara Catholic in a downpour. Their team down by 31 points, and of course, Niagara Falls is always with a more than a handful of devout followers and boosters. And Bud Flincham, I got to say something about Bud Flincham right after this play. I've got to tell you something that Bud did this year.
You got to tell us about writing the letter to the president? You know, they made that presentation last week.
That's right.
That's Freddie Fair, the ball carrier.
Bud, you know, wrote a letter to all the local television stations and the Buffalo Bills, and he got replies from many of them. And as you said, he wrote to the president. He got a reply. It'd be great for every high school to have somebody like Bud Flincham on their team. Bud, in the past, has dressed up as a tiger. I remember at a Lockport game a couple years ago, Bud looked like he was picketing the sidelines because he had a big Niagara Falls sign. He's walking up and down the sideline. Just a devout fan, and great to see somebody like that involved with high school sports.
President of the Niagara Falls High School Football Boosters, following a great tradition. That's teaming, Bob, you know, at the quarterback's position. It looked like one of the great playground plays there where Teeman fumbled the ball, picked it up, and then just lobbed it to one of his running backs. And as you suggested, Teeman has come into play quarterback with just over 6 minutes to play.
You know, Bob, with these Friday night telecasts, you've become a big fan, I should say a big hero in many of the local taverns of Niagara Falls because, believe it or not, these high school games are put on. I've seen it on in the Crown and Anchor, and, of course, the Stadium and Grill and the Como Restaurant, on and on. Lucky to get that pun off.
Yeah, Smith gets it off, and it's going to be returned by Tavano, who has had one. Oh, not that far, though. Is that Castellani again or Fair? It might be Fair, 28. It's very hard to see now.
Castellani, they've credited with the tackle up here. But as I said, these Friday night telecasts have become very popular, like Friday night fights. And many of the local establishments have the game on at 10 o'clock because obviously nobody knows the outcome of the game yet. And, you know, I tip my hat to George Beck, and who scheduled him, had the foresight to schedule on Friday nights. And
there's the injured player, Bob, along the sidelines as you talk. Guido Felicetti is there with Roger Haley. You know, you're right, though. We started that innovation with Niagara University basketball, and it's been very successful because, you know, it's 10 o'clock. You don't know the score. You start to watch the game, and then, you really get into it. It's when you watch a game 2 days later and you've read about it, unless you are, a parent or someone who has a real interest, it's difficult, to sit through a whole game. But I really do think it's helped our audience, and it's good for the kids.
Well, and
they're getting the exposure.
To get back to the technical end of it, I mean, they've progressed so far, whereas you can sit home now and not only follow the game and be able to see what happened on every play, but you enjoy the coverage. I remember, many years ago when Fran Haggerty and Brian Ross were the dynamic duo out at Niagara Wheatfield setting all Western New York passing records, and we did that game in black and white with one camera, and we waited the whole game for Brian Ross to complete the pass that would break the record, and just on that play we ran out of tape. We never got it.
Yeah.
We never got it.
That was Freddie Gabriel, the co-captain, number 50, who walked off under his own power after being injured on that return. And Mark Campanola is back at quarterback, and he completes one to Fagan. He completed one a moment ago to Fagan, but Fagan fumbled after Niagara Catholic, Toliano made the tackle. Niagara Catholic still wants to score, Bob.
Fagan may have some impressive statistics at the end of this game. He's had the ball passed to him on a couple plays, and he's picked up some yards running, and he's had a long and hard game.
Bob, that's a good point because statistically, they're going to be very close. That's going to tell you how statistics are going to tell a lie because, remember, a lot of Niagara Falls' touchdowns have been short drives or off of interceptions.
That's right.
And the statistics are going to be close. Niagara Catholic may have even outgained Niagara Falls. I'm not sure. We don't have that information here, but...
Look at that down in the mud. That's a tough place to be face first in that position, especially if you're losing. It's officials' timeout. I'm sure they'll change the ball. It's tough to keep the ball clean and dry under these circumstances. Fortunately,
there's not another game here this weekend because it would be a tough thing. Well, actually, there is a game tomorrow morning, on Saturday morning when the JV game is played. There are no varsity games scheduled. Their Trot does not play at home this week. And, of course, LaSalle does not play here.
That was a funny scene. The officials just moved the ball to a dry spot, and Niagara Catholic came out of the huddle.
Said, come on over here, fellas. We're playing on this side. You line up over here, but you got to join us. Tavano throws that slippery ball, and I guess it's caught. Yeah, Chamberlain couldn't tell if Chamberlain caught it or Riley. Riley caught it. Couldn't tell there for a moment.
Very close to a first down, and I think they're gonna give him the first down on the play. They did. 5:33. Now you have to cheer for Niagara Catholic to get on the board as you see the letters superimposed over our players out here today at Sal Magny Stadium. Once again, a reminder, Sal's at Memorial Hospital. Drop Sal line, room 435. Be glad to hear from you, the barber.
Well, Bob, you're just going to have Campanola on their heavy rush. See, he doesn't have any footing there. He throws it, and it's caught. No, it's. I thought McLean had a shot at that, but he did not catch the football. Number 32. Bobby, you're gonna have to follow up that show. That's Frank Phillips on your screen. Another one of the Niagara Catholic boosters. They do a good job for Coach Condino, giving him a hand here. You can see Campanola just running in the mud, and then finally throwing the football and goes right through McLean's hands. You know, Moose, you might have to have him back to analyze what happened out here. He's like Professor Backwards, you know, when he talks. You don't know what.
Or Professor Irwin Corey.
Yeah.
His famous last quote was, "The sands of time will be there."
I thought it was from the days of our life. It was like sands through an hourglass.
That's right. There's a catch by number 47
That's
out there.
Campbell. Campbell caught the ball, and Toliano made the tackle. Yeah, that was a fun. I thought I'd have to repeat that line, but was he talking about young ladies or something that you mentioned?
Some mention about he's better looking than some of the girls Joe Rizzo's been out with. Of course, referring back to they knew each other in their high school days, and.
Well, I'll tell you, for a moment I thought I was watching Saturday Night Live. I really did.
Looked like professional wrestling.
Fagan. Yeah, maybe Moose could become a wrestling manager like Bobby the Brain Heenan. Maybe we could make him a manager.
Rich Condino looked more like the manager, and Moose looked like the wrestler.
Yeah, it's.
Rich had kept a straight face throughout that entire interview.
Joe looks like Ivan Putski, so we can get something started.
Rich was able to keep a straight face after he guarded Governor Cuomo, I believe, this summer out at Niagara Park. So he's got that stern look on his face.
Meantime, Niagara Catholic back to the most interesting thing, and people will call and say, you guys got off the game a little bit, but the fact of the matter is the score is 31-0. Niagara Catholic is putting out a valiant effort here, trying to get in the end zone. Niagara Falls High School does, in all honesty, does have some reserves in there, but they're under Joe Rizzo. They're not about to give up a touchdown. I'll tell you, they're not interested in.
There's Joe on your left and Vinny Lorendi on your right.
They're not going to be charitable about this. Not for it was an option play and a nice defensive play on Fagan. I'll tell you, that was a heads-up play.
Hard to read the numbers at this point. Stopa, they're giving credit for.
Stopa's had a big game. He scored 2 touchdowns. Only one of them counted, but he's got his track work in tonight.
Well, the only question right now is whether or not Niagara Falls can stop Niagara Catholic from scoring. And you know the competitor that Rich Condino is. I mean, he wants this touchdown.
Well, he's going to have to listen to this friendly rivalry that's developed. And, of course, it's it does a lot for it's a school-type situation. Niagara Catholic being a Catholic school and playing a public school, there's always that.
Oh, here's another interception.
This is this a touchdown, too? I don't know if this man runs out of gas or not. He may run out of gas.
It's going to be close.
He's going to make it. Is that Castellani? 26? That's the third.
Whatever it is, he needs some oxygen at this point.
That's the 3rd interception for a touchdown tonight. Alfonso James, Chris Stopa, and now John Castellani. Wow. Look at this, Bob. Watch Castellani just pick this off.
That was a nice one-handed catch, too.
Yeah, really. Now the question is, does he have enough juice to make it? I'll tell you.
Man trailing the play made some nice interference here, which really kind of helped.
Yeah, he was down there. He throws a block on Campanola. That was Chamberlain. He came all the way downfield and threw a block on Campanola. So we had 4 run back. Only 3 of them accounted. Now Tiemann calls timeout. It's 37-0.
Boy, this is a coach's nightmare to have your team down there inside the 10 and hopefully put the only score on the board, and then a big defensive play like that, and the kid runs it all the way down for a touchdown, 37-0.
And really, the Niagara Falls defense, if you're given a game ball, you can talk about, offense as much as you want, but really the defense has been great.
Well, they've scored 18 of these 37 points at this point. 3 touchdowns, all on interceptions.
Boy, they're going to roll up some good point totals for their defensive statistics, and it's justifiable because Stopa and Castellani have been, consistently good football players. They're not just coming out playing a good game tonight. And, of course, Alfonso James had a big first half. 37-0, and we still have an extra point to be attempted. You know, they're going to try to go for 2 points, I think, Bob. And I don't think they're doing this to rub it in or to add any more points. I think they're practicing, you know, for future games, especially the Newport game. I believe that's what they're going to do because Keeman is there. I mean, it really doesn't make much difference if you win 37-0 or 39. They're going to run Tiemann out and throw a pass. And it's broken up. Broken up is intended for fair. Eddie Scott got his hand in there. It'll stay 37-0.
2:45 to go in the game. It's going to be 2 minutes and 45 seconds, some of the longest time in Niagara Catholic's memory as they have to sit through this rain. But for Niagara Falls, another impressive showing, Bob. These Power Cats, you have to wonder, had they been able to get on the board and they maybe turn things around against Lockport, where this team would have been headed.
Well, Lockport must have a heck of a defense. I mean, they've shut out 2 or 3 teams in a row.
They shut out Niagara Wheatfield, Niagara Falls, and Lewiston Porter all in a row.
Yeah, and, you know, just...
they're 4-1. You know, they just haven't beaten anybody.
What's that, Bob?
That's the goalpost.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a creature or something coming out of the ground there. That's the goal. For a while, I looked up at the screen and...
That's Mark Costanzo down in the end zone. Mark better hold on to that cable line because he may disappear in one of those puddles down there. They may have to fish him out.
Yeah, our director is Freddie Calandrelli, the assistant director, and on electronic graphics, Rini Mohan. Of course, Rini does Eye on Niagara. Jeff Martin is our engineer and location manager. Our sideline camera, you've seen Mark Costanzo all night. Jimmy McCrae and Steve Leopold are the cameramen. Our floor director right next to us is Mary Katlina. And our executive producer is Vince Lorendi Jr., who is coaching, and our president is right here tonight, Vince Lorendi Sr., and of course our program director, George Beck, is playing the trumpet tonight. George would say that was a lovely pass. There is a fumble, and it's recovered by Joe Rizzo, number 10, on the return by Tavano. Now, Bob, this is a very tough situation for a coach. You're up 37-0. You got 2:32 to play, and you know.
I think you'll see strictly dives.
Yeah.
And
you can see all the white jerseys. Well, you're looking at the Niagara Falls sidelines now. They feel that's got to be an awkward situation for them because they're never on that side. Look at all the white jerseys in the game now. Tiemann is the quarterback. Conti is one of the running backs. Conti scored a touchdown tonight. That's Freddie Fair, though. He's still running.
You know, it's a tough situation, but for the fellows that have just been put in the game, I mean, they want to play and
sure.
they want to score.
That's
and they want
point.
to do a good job, and
they want to get in next week too. You know. And
you know, I was in that situation a lot of times. Didn't get to play much my first 3 years, and when you do get in the game, I mean, that's like the beginning of the game for you. You want to get in and get the ball and make a tackle, whatever. And
as you say, we joked about it, but you get your uniform dirty, you become a part of the team,
yeah,
really.
That's important, especially if you have to put in the practice. You'd like to get out there and contribute something during the game.
This is a high school sports we're talking about now. And oh, a nice inside handoff to Conti. Nice faking that time by Tiemann. They're going to run out of time, though, Bob. They're certainly not in a hurry.
What I don't understand in a pro game, in this situation, you may see the defense called timeout to kill the clock. Never could understand that when the game's so far out of reach.
They're probably trying to negotiate their contracts, some of those defensive players. They figure I make another tackle.
That's true.
It's all a game of statistics, you know.
Too much so in the pro level.
Definitely. There's a dive that you would see a run. That's what you anticipate. Niagara Falls will run this clock out before we get a touchdown. Bob, I'm going to go on a limb and give you that prediction about Buffalo winning their first game, which may be the only game they win this year. And I'm going to tell you the hero of the game is going to be Scott Norwood, the field goal kicker. I anticipate Buffalo maybe scoring 1 touchdown and getting something like 4 to 5 field goals.
I hope you're right.
Going on a limb.
See him finally win a game.
And it may be something like 17 to 10. Maybe it'll go over 23. It's going to be a 23-27 point range, though. Anything higher than that, Let's see, did Niagara Catholic recover that? Yes, they did. So we won't have to debate what's going to happen. Niagara Catholic has recovered. Well, they have 8 seconds showing on the clock.
Well, you have to feel good for this Niagara Falls team, Bob, when you figured out that 2 years ago, many of these same youngsters struggled through a 1-in-8 season, not scoring a touchdown in their last 6 games. You know, they bit the bullet. Now they're having a chance to reap the benefits of their hard work. That's the end of the game, 37-0.
37-0 is the final, Bob. Niagara Catholic will still celebrate their homecoming. They're a young club, and as you said, Niagara Falls has put everything together tonight. They really gelled offensively and defensively.
And see if you can see the coaches exchanging handshakes. I see Rich Condino way off to the right there, but these guys are all friends, and there's a lot of good sportsmanship tonight, and these youngsters all out here wanted to play hard, and Niagara Catholic will have their day. There's Rich Condino and Roger Haley exchanging handshakes on the other side of what you're seeing there. And
there's Nick Ligamari, had a good game. And, you know, the kids are, as I said, many of them are very close friends. They grew up together. Now they're opponents, but we have not a single incident tonight. It was a very well-played game as far as the discipline as both teams.
I guess you could say the key to this game was probably the Niagara Falls defense, Bob. The turnovers and the points they scored, and really took Niagara Catholic out of the game before they had a chance to get into it.
Yeah, Niagara Falls very jubilant. Rich Wright leading the cheers. You saw the Castro before. They're very happy. It's 37-0. That's the final from Sal Magley Stadium. Bob, thanks a lot for coming on. Hope to get you back before the season's over.
It's a lot of fun and great to be added to your long list of colorful commentators.
God, we're really moving up into some big time now. Now here's New York, New York. There's Roger Haley. Will we get a dance out of these guys? Mark Costanza's on the field. Roger Haley, there's our color commentator for tomorrow's game. We're getting a nod that we're going to get a dance. There goes Steve Leopold. There it is, Bob.
I've been waiting for this, Bob.
Look at this.
Steve Leopold, it's slick conditions for Mark Costanzo out there, but I think he's going to be getting Steve.
I hope he doesn't
in
fall,
the rain.
Bob.
I think this is dancing in the rain.
This is dancing in the rain, yeah. We got out of Steve. I know. Are you going to get Mark's attention?
Oh, he's going to get Mark now, and I think we'll see Mark return the favor. There's Mark.
Mark, here he goes. There he goes into his now famous strut.
I think that camera cable taped to his leg is what gives him that movement, you know?
Yeah, look at him. This has become...
and he's got some cheerleaders out there dancing with him this time, so this could be interesting.
Yeah, but we're getting a wrap-up sign, and he can bring his family out there.
Mark's wife's going to give him the wrap-up.
Now, he does have chorus line. Now, then he got everybody out there. All right, for Bob Kaczynski and all the crew, this is Bob Laurie thanking you very much for your time this time. Until next time, good night.